think our story begins like 2,500 years ago. So before Jesus even. So this is crazy. It's a long time ago. So I think we're in Nepal. There's a very wealthy young man called Gautama Siddhartha. He's like the Kardashian of his time. So he lives in this palace, when he's born, his father's this like rich ruler. He owns like a small kingdom in that area, and a holy man comes by and he says, "Your son is destined to either become a king or a holy man." And so the father, I think, wasn't gonna have any more like boys or children or something. Maybe the mother died. I don't remember, but he was like in line to be king or something like that. Otherwise, his kingdom would go to someone else. So what happened was the father decided to like lock Gautama Siddhartha, or I'll just call him Gautama. He decided to lock Gautama in like the palace and surround him with all these pleasures and things like that. So there was like spices, women, I don't know, maybe he had a pet tiger, something like that. But he was not allowed to leave the palace. It was pretty much all luxury. And
Sheltered man.
I think he was in there until he was like 32. So you think
Really?
so you think quarantine's bad?
Oh my God.
He was sheltered for about 32
was-
years of his life.
Wow.
So one day, you're like, he's like trapped in there. So he's thinking like, what is the point of any of this? Like, what am I doing? He's like, why is there all these pleasures? Like, what am I supposed to be doing like that? So he was curious about that. So he was like, everyone's gonna if you're locked for a long time, you're gonna be like, what's beyond the wall? Like everyone, that's like just human nature. So he's like, what's beyond the wall? So they took him out in a cart, brought him around the city, and he was like, no, I want to explore on my own. So in the middle of the night, he escaped from the palace and he started exploring the town. And so the first thing he sees is this like old man. Like he's like an old man. He's like on like a little cane, stuff like that, hunchbacked, skinny, bearded. Like he looks like an old man. And Siddhartha says, "What's wrong with you?" And the old man's just like, I'm old. I'm just old." So he was like, wow, is that what's gonna happen to me? People get old. So he saw that. And then he walks down an alleyway and he sees another person sick and dying. He has like boils and stuff like that. It's not corona. I don't think it's smallpox either. I don't know if that was a thing yet. But he was also dying of disease. He was like, wow, people die of disease as well. So we saw that. And then he saw like a funeral procession. There was a man wrapped in the linen cloths and they were disposing of the body. He was like, oh shit, people die. And so he was like, that sucks. So he started like going out and just like visiting all these like yoga temples, not like yoga today with like, I don't know, goats and stuff, but like yoga. So he's doing yoga, he's trying to like learn the meaning of life and what his purpose is. And then after that, like he was like, what's the point of this as well? And so he escapes and he meets like another sage who was like starving. And he was like, or no, what happened was he saw a sage who was like praying and like starved and like basically homeless and begging for food. And he saw him and he was like, wow, that guy seems very content with his life. Maybe the pleasures is what is causing my unhappiness. So he like wanders off and he becomes a beggar. He joins a bunch of naked ass beggars and starve himself as well. And then soon enough he was like, wow, this also sucks. Removing everything is pretty shitty as well. So he's like, all right, you know what? I need to figure this shit out. So he goes over to a Bodhi tree. You can visualize that, a Bodhi tree. And he sits. And he's like, I'm not going to get up until I figure this out. So he sits there for 49 days and meditates. And then he becomes enlightened and becomes the Buddha.
So that's right, guys. Just starve yourself for 49 days and meditate, and you will become the next holy man.
So now we need to talk about what he